Holy cow, it's almost starting to look like a real car. Morning everybody, it's 17th of March, happy St. Patrick's Day. It's about 9:15 or so in the morning. I've been here for a little while. I had to crank out an oil change on the Mazda real quick. So I took care of that, and I've been tooling around a little bit before I started. Got the passenger side door on here. This one that is the one that hasn't given me too many problems. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this roughed in and then revisit the bonnet. I have some help coming to give me a hand this morning at some point. So hopefully I can, I want to try to adjust this pivot tube over here, that guy there, and see if I can get this so that it's not, this hinge here, so it's not hard up on the adjustment. And otherwise, just continuing to fight the gaps. Hopefully, crossing my fingers a little bit, I'll be able to at least get a majority of through all of this today. Got to play with the other side door and the hinge adjustments over there. I've been drilling those out. I showed you that at the end of the last video. So anyway, that's the plan ahead for today. We'll see how it goes. About 10 o'clock, I've been playing with the door over here for about an hour or so. I took the rubber off for a little bit just to give me a little bit more wiggle room. So I'm pretty happy with the gap here on the bonnet, though. I'm going to wreck that when I play with the bonnet. The problem I'm having is down here, is it sits way proud of this area in here, and then works as it comes up to the plate in there, the latch. I don't really get why it's sitting proud in there. I know the hinges and the front gives you the ability to go like this with the door and bring it in and out, and I've done that. I don't remember this problem before, and it is an adjustment thing because I can get it flat in here. So, but it opens and shuts okay. It's not great. The hinges should be. See, it's not really shutting that well. The hinges should be in good enough shape. I did get new hinges, so it's not. I don't think it's the pins being flighty or anything like that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the bonnet up here and start playing around with the bonnet a little bit, see if I can adjust that pivot tube without having to disassemble too much stuff. We'll see how that goes, but a little surprisingly frustrated with the door, I guess. But again, I think it's just an adjustment thing. On the black car, I went out and measured the pivot tubes on those, and I measured from where it's sticking out from the front grill thing here. So from this leading edge to the very tip of the front of the J, or excuse me, of the pivot tube, there's about 2.5 inches on the black car on both sides. And what I'm looking at here is about 2 3/10 here and about 2 1/10 here. So they're crooked. They should be straight, I would think. And that also will explain, if I can get the whole almost 1/2 inch out of this one, that will explain why that hinge there is almost completely bottomed out. So I think I'll play with it. You got the bolt there, and there's several around it and everything like that. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of adjustment. There's a bolt that you can't really see that's in here that does give you a fore to aft adjustment. But you know, the more you move forward, the more that one is going to deflect. So that may just be where I can move it forward by loosening everything and sliding. Anyway, so we're gonna give that a try. Hopefully my guy helping me today will be here in a little bit. We'll see. All right, about 2:45 or so. If you can see this yellow or orange strap, I have gotten totally disgusted with the way that the prop or the bonnet is propped up. So I kind of made my own. But the problem I'm having now, actually, I'll pause it and I'll set this thing up and show you. All right, so here's the original prop rod, whatever it's called. Now I have the washers and stuff on the wrong sides here, but one portion bolts up on the inside. If you can see how that pipe is flattened there, so that's going to bolt up on the inside here, and the other side, again with the flat, get you in camera there, with the flat portion here, will bolt up onto that new hole that I drilled in the bonnet. It's off camera. But anyway, so I'll connect this real quick, show you. Bolts up like this. Again, these are not the washers. So you lift up on the prop rod like this, and it'll start to come down with the bonnet, and then what happens is it hits right there. Now I think it's supposed to do that, as much as it doesn't make sense why they would make it that way, but you know, it is what it is. But what's happening is it's now causing the bonnet to stay high, so I got to physically push it down, which obviously compresses this a little bit more, or something. I can't tell what's going on inside because it's blocked. So I mean, I can still clamp it down and it works, but it just doesn't seem like it should be right that way, especially with a master cylinder that's going to be probably not interfering with, but there's going to be master cylinders there if I ever get this car done, and things like that. I tried to flip it around. I thought maybe that I had it in backwards. This side definitely has to go up top here, because that's how you break it. You lift and break it like that. So I tried to swap it around, and it clears the bulkhead, but then the bending of it doesn't allow the bonnet to come all the way down, and it also hits the brake pipe here, and will obviously cause damage over time. So, ouch. In short, if you know if this is expected behavior, if I should have to push down slightly, I don't remember how the car behaved before I took all this stuff apart. If you have to push down slightly and that's just the way it is, then please let me know that. If you got any ideas on how to put this thing in differently or properly, maybe I'm backwards. The workshop manual just doesn't show it in detail that I've been able to find. Maybe there's some random picture in there I can locate, but there you go. All right, so I worked on a lot of gaps. I'll show you those here now. All right, so we'll show off some gaps. I think at about 85% solution here. I haven't put the front valance in. I actually forgot about that. I should have been doing that now instead of talking to you guys, but oh well. So we'll look at this gap over here. Happy with the way that that's come out. Now this gap probably should be a little bit taller, but I'm going to let it ride here. So I'm happy with the way that bonnet came out there. Also happy with the way that it falls as far as this edge goes here, and you can see that's pretty straight. All right, we'll walk over to the other side. Now this gap is a little bit more appropriate, maybe even a little bit wide. Probably shouldn't quite be able to fit my finger in there, and it also looks like it can come forward a little bit, but all in all, not too bad. Still got this bent problem here, and I'm pretty convinced that is bent. When I let go of the clamp here, it does let it pop out a little bit. So I may be able to adjust that. I know John was talking about that quite a bit, to try to adjust that out. So I still got that to work on. And the gap along here a little bit wide on this side, and it closes up on that side. But again, I'm okay with the way that sits. So happy with the bonnet, or at least I've got a path ahead on the couple little incremental adjustments that I want to do. Driver's side door, pretty happy with the way that this has come out. I don't like that gap there, but damn if I can't get it out of there, especially since it closes up. And you would say, well, you got to rotate the door and lift up in here. But my gaps are really nice on there, and they're even nice down here. Now I had a little bit of a problem down here where it was almost touching. So I'm pretty convinced that I did allow this A-post to droop a little bit like I had mentioned. I drilled out the holes on both hinges and allowed me to get to this where I am. It falls a little bit because I used practice hinges, so to speak, the ones that are not in good shape, just to make sure, proof of concept, that it would work. But it closes pretty well. And you know, good enough as far as I'm concerned for 1966. You look on the inside, and the rubber is pretty good all the way around. Now the passenger side door, on the other hand, the one that I thought would not have any problems, I'm having problems with. So it's a little wide here, and this gap here, not too bad coming down. This gap is comparable to the other side, so maybe that's just the way these cars are. The problem is, however, is you can see, hopefully, let me get the light, you can see the large gap, if the flashlight wasn't in the way, you can see the large gap that I have between the door and the rubber. So that's obviously not going to work. So what's that tell me? Well, it tells me that the door needs to rotate down and in, and then under here, I've got a huge amounts of it being proud of the door there. So the door's got to rotate, but I'm not getting any rotation out of it. So that's where my 15% that I'm not happy with is in that door. But everything else is pretty good. It's just trial and error. I had my father-in-law over here helping me out, so thanks to him, holding stuff and moving stuff and coming up with ideas and everything, and we kind of fought our way through this. I did end up moving this pivot tube a little bit, and now I am not hard up on the back. I can go back a little bit, but not a lot. It's just I just don't think it's adjustable. So I can, you know, tweak all this stuff in, but at the end of the day, you know, you start to lose reward, risk versus reward kind of thing. You know, diminishing returns just becomes not worth it. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Pretty short video for this weekend. Not too much instruction, kind of before and after shots a little bit, but thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you think, and I'm looking for any recommendations on the bonnet prop and what to do with that and how that's supposed to go in properly in case I got it wrong. So thanks so much. Have a good rest of your weekend. Cheers.